ANTISOCIAL podcast. I'm Roger.
I'm Tim.
And thanks for tuning in again. So I just want to address something really quick before we get started. That I know that we are having issues with the audio. So I'm still trying to work on that. I know this is a new world to me, so I will hopefully have that fixed by, I don't even know when I'm going to have it fixed, but hopefully soon the audio will sound better to you guys. But other than that, Tim, how was your week?
Once again, my week was pretty good, considering the pandemic. Yeah.
Did you do anything fun this week? Did you get out?
What did I do?
Did you self-isolate?
I was definitely self-isolated, but I've been kind of hanging out with the same few people consistently. And one of my friends has kids, and that's really refreshing because I teach 6th graders, so I kind of miss being around really energetic children. So that's always fun to spend time with them. I did some coloring with them, and we played this game that's on iPhone. I forgot what it's called, but it's basically like charades, and you put like a question on your head, and they have to kind of act out whatever's on your head.
Yeah.
What's it called?
I played the game before. I can't remember the name of the game though.
Yeah.
So, like somebody else had it.
It's a lot of fun. Heads Up or something like that. I think it's called Heads Up.
But I don't have an iPhone, so I don't know how to play that game.
Okay.
Well, I know how to play the game, but
You don't play it.
Team Android all the way.
Okay.
Anyway, what did I do this week? I didn't really do anything fun this week. I just worked. It was still a productive week though. I had my best week in DoorDash.
Really?
This week, because of all the stuff that's going on. I'm telling
Wow.
people, there's still money in the streets.
Okay.
People got to get out.
I was really worried about the gig economy, but I'm really glad to know that some people are doing well.
You said the gig economy. Okay,
yeah.
it sounded like you said something different really quick.
Huh?
It sounded like you said the gay economy. But you said
No, I didn't say the gay economy.
But you said the gig economy.
The gig economy. That's like DoorDash, things that you do, Uber, stuff like that. It's nice to know that they're still doing well.
Yeah, we are still out here, still going strong.
I am concerned though about some of the grocery store workers. I've been seeing some really crazy updates and memes and stuff about how hard they're working. So shout out to them.
Yeah, I saw. This is like a side note, but I saw on Facebook yesterday where I think this guy was in Philly. He was a bus driver, and he said some elderly lady, I think he said she was in her 60s, like got on the bus and coughed or whatever. Actually, this post was put up by Occupy Democrats. You know that the Facebook page.
I haven't heard of them.
Occupy Democrats, whatever. Yeah, so it's like a political page or whatever, but they like the Occupy movement, but they're Democrats.
That's a worthy cause.
Yeah, so but anyway, so this guy says this lady gets on the bus. She's probably in her 60s, and she coughs on the bus. Doesn't cover her mouth, but she just like coughs on the bus. Doesn't cover her mouth, and then according to the Occupy Democrats, that guy ended up passing away because of the virus.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, moral of the story is cover your mouth. But on the brighter side, I have a joke for you.
Go ahead. I'm ready to laugh.
Ready to laugh? Okay. I think you might like this one. Okay. What is the leading cause of dry skin?
Don't know.
A towel.
I don't get it.
A towel?
A towel?
Yeah. A towel dries your skin.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were gonna put some. Okay.
Boom.
Nice.
Alright guys, we have neighborhood news coming up next. This is the Dry Cereal Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to Neighborhood News. I'm Roger Haynes, and here's what's happening in the neighborhood. Hundreds gather for Iowa horse auction defying guidelines. Those that were turned away were not in stable condition, and you could tell by their long face. Hong Kong's giant pandas mate for the first time. But if you ask me, it doesn't look like it's his first time because he is doing more than the bare minimum. A rare bee has a body that's half male, half female, and it's split exactly down the middle. It's believed to be the first transsexual Michigan couple's wedding to be attended by cardboard guests. They are obviously cut out for each other, but their guests look bored. Bernie Sanders drops out of the presidential race. Authorities said a first responder was heard saying, "Thank goodness he had life support." A mayor ordered police to crack down on social gatherings, and then they found his wife at a bar. Sources say she had been shot. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in to Neighborhood News, and now back to the dry series. Alright guys, we are back. Now, I don't know about you, Jatin, but I am getting tired of talking about COVID-19 and the coronavirus. But, so we're going to talk about it anyways. Only for a second though. We're not going to talk about it a lot. But, I did want to touch on the effect that it's having on unemployment right now. Which, the numbers are staggering. I don't know if you know the numbers, Jatin, but I've been doing some research. Very basic research, but I've just pulled up one article. So, I mean, no, I don't just pull up one article. But,
Very in-depth.
yeah, very in-depth research. But, so currently, in the last 2 weeks, 10 million people filed for unemployment. And that's just in the last 2 weeks. So, this past week, the number of new people claiming unemployment benefits totaled 6.648 million, which doubled the prior week, which was 3.307 million people. So we are at 10 million, probably in counting right now, probably.
Yeah.
So what do you think about like do you know people personally that are filing, or
I've heard some of my friends. No, I'm not filing, thank God. That's like the thing I'm most grateful for right now. And everything I've gone through in the past 5 years or so with teaching, the ups and downs, were worth it just because of this moment. Because I really feel like I have a lot of job security right now, and a lot less stress than I had when I was not teaching online. So I've heard a lot of people complaining and talking about stuff like you have to wait. They give you a number for filing for unemployment, and that, you know, I'm sure the sites are really maybe clogged up because so many people are trying to file at one time. So I really just have a lot of sympathy for people that are in this situation. And I kind of feel like everything that I've done up until this point is to arrive here where I'm able to be secure. I don't have to panic. I don't have to feel lost. I've been really focusing on getting on my feet my entire life, you know. Been out of college for more than 10 years, and I'm just glad I have some security.
Yeah, that's good. So this kind of, I guess, coincides with what I wanted to talk about next. Granted, I know a lot of people are filing unemployment. I'm not saying don't file for unemployment, but I think like people need to be proactive. Like, you can't wait for the government to give you a handout, is what I think. So next I want to talk about, you know, ways that people can make money during this time. Like, I'll give you guys a couple, like, some examples, and I mean, do with it what you will, but I think that people need to go on offense during this time instead of defense. So in the come up next, I'm going to give you guys a couple ways that you can make money during this pandemic. I'm interrupting the program to tell you something very important. If you are watching this, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, or you can follow us on social media. My Instagram is @RogersNeighborhood, and Jatem's is _JETAIMEC. Now, back to the show. Alright guys, so as I said, now is the time to be going on offense and not defense. Like, one, people, you just need to do something that's going to take your mind off of what's actually going on. Because worrying about it is not going to change the situation. So, people, you guys need to be proactive. And, like, I'm not saying don't take the government handouts, but don't wait for the government to help you. I mean, because like $1,200 that people are going to get, and then maybe you guys can get some unemployment too, but that's only going to last for so long.
Right.
It's like what are you going to do after that runs out?
Actually, I was talking to my hairdresser this week, and she was saying how she has to kind of take advantage of the fact that BGE, or that's the electrical company here in Maryland, they're allowing customers to, they're giving them a grace period. A lot of landlords are giving grace periods. Pretty much everybody's giving a grace period, she said, except for her phone company, which I think is Verizon or something like that. And that's cool, but you still have to pay that amount once that grace period is over.
Right,
it's exactly. 3 times the amount that
exactly. So I'm like, if you're able to pay your bills, guys, pay them now. Don't wait, because then that's just gonna be more money you have to pay later on, which is gonna be just added to another bill, and then you're wondering why your bill's $300-400 or whatever it is. I'm just making up numbers here, but I just wanted to give you guys a couple things that you could do to possibly make money. Like when this thing first happened, like I sold some things online. I sold a phone and I sold a camera, and that was a quick $300 that I didn't really even work that hard for. And I actually sold, no, I take that back. So I sold 3 things. I sold 2 phones and a camera. So that's $400 right there that I basically just made just selling stuff when this started. So I'm sure people, like, you guys have stuff in your house that you don't wear anymore, or that you don't use, some like old electronics or whatever you guys have. Like, just sell that. Like, even if you make 25, 50, $100 on whatever it is, I mean, that's money that you didn't have before. And then maybe you can even use that money, if you're an entrepreneur, maybe use that money and buy something else, and then sell something else. Buy low and sell high. So that's one thing you guys could do. Like, you could also drive for Lyft or drive for Uber. There are still people out here that need rides. Like, my Lyft was blowing up today, but I was focusing on DoorDash, which is another thing you guys should do. Like, DoorDash has been pretty good to me, anyways.
So Roger, I think a big concern people have when you're talking about delivery is exposure.
So they have a thing right now where, you can even, most of my customers probably will say just leave the food at the door. Right, so it's not you don't have to touch people if you don't want to touch. You don't have to be around people.
Okay.
So you can say, oh hey, I'm a couple minutes out. I'm leaving the food at the door, and then most people are okay with it. Know what's going on. So you don't have to touch people. And then most restaurants, you can't even go inside the restaurant anymore. Like, a lot of restaurants will bring the food to your car. Or restaurants will tell you to wait outside. You literally can't go in the restaurant. You can't even go and use the bathroom in the restaurant right now. So, I mean, DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, Lyft, Uber. I mean, you guys could do all that stuff. Now's the time to go on offense. And then if you're uncomfortable doing it, wear gloves and wear a mask. I've seen drivers wearing masks and gloves.
Mm-hmm.
If you have that, just wear it.
Honestly, Roger, I only have to be online for my students probably like 2 hours out of the day. And you're inspiring me to update my car insurance so I can drive for Lyft. I used to drive for Lyft a few years ago when I was in between jobs, and I'm seriously considering it now. I do have a public service announcement about
Okay.
Lyft drivers, something I want to get off my chest.
Oh, go ahead.
So, Lyft drivers, male Lyft drivers, it is not okay to flirt or hit on your customers when they get in your car. Number one, I'm not sure if you know this, but women are constantly worried about being sexually assaulted, kidnapped, all that. And the stories are already out about Lyft drivers and Uber drivers and how they've handled certain situations. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen all the time. But I took a Lyft for the first time in a long time this week. And the first thing my Lyft driver did when I got in was like, "Hey, how are you?" "I'm good. How are you?" "Oh, I'm doing good now that you're here." And it was just like so uncomfortable because you just never know what might happen. And I can't believe that a lot of Lyft drivers aren't sensitive to that, considering so much stuff has been in the news.
Oh, well, you have not been in my car. Because, like, my rides are very boring. Like, I don't talk to anybody. Unless they start talking to me.
That's how it should be.
So, I literally don't say anything. Like, if you want to talk, whatever, I'll talk to you. But
I just wanted to put out that little
yeah, like, if I say hello and then they're just like, "Oh, I'm good."
That really bothered me and made me uncomfortable.
No,
This is when I
that happened this week?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Jatim, here on the Dry Stereo podcast, I would like to apologize on behalf of all Lyft drivers.
I received that apology.
We are not all like that. And, I don't know if you guys know this, but did you give him a bad rating?
Ooh, thanks for reminding me. I'm going to go back and do that.
So, if you give the driver a bad rating, a 3-star or below, then you will not be matched with that driver ever again.
That's true.
So,
and as someone that used to drive for Lyft, I think giving feedback always helps. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he needs to know that that's not okay. That he could be losing customers right now.
Alright guys, so I gave you a couple things that you guys can do this week to get started. But I think, if you guys don't want to do Lyft, Uber, DoorDash, or Grubhub, or whatever, then sell things online. Like, I know you guys have things in your house that you don't use anymore. If you need a couple $100s, that could go a long way. Like you have a couple $100s worth of stuff in your house right now. So, get to selling, people, and we'll be right back.
Alright, so one of the strategies for maintaining, anxiety, not maintaining, or relieving yourself of anxiety during the pandemic is a lot of people are resorting to binge watching things on Netflix, and there's been a show that's kind of taken the country by storm. That show is called Tiger King. I personally have been really into You and Tiger King. You is another situation and another conversation for another day. But Tiger King is basically about a character. It's a true story. It's actually a documentary. It's a show. Who has spent his life basically cultivating an animal rescue of exotic animals. His name is Joe Exotic. Oh gosh, where do I begin with this? My takeaway from watching Tiger King, and I've had this discussion with other friends, is that, sometimes the way black people are portrayed in the media is very one-dimensional and presents us as being just like a monolith of people who maybe just have not had the opportunities to be exposed to ideas that allow them to be the best version of who they can be. And so my take home from watching this is that we're not the only ones who are affected by conditions that shape us into what I like to describe as base humans. So base humans are human beings who are just kind of operating at a very low level of being a human being. And this documentary really highlights how that can come off in ways where we're laughing at the expense of their degraded humanity, but also the darkness of it. So like, Tiger King goes from being like really hilarious, really weird, and then it just gets dark and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to watch
So
this.
it's like, what was? Because I haven't seen it. I watched probably part of an episode, and this didn't seem interesting to me. But it's like, what was he doing with the animals?
So a lot of people in this show have had a fascination with exotic animals since they were teenagers. So he was basically just buying exotic animals, breeding them, and then turning that into like an amusement park where people would pay money to pet the animals, take pictures of the animals, stuff like that. He wasn't really treating the animals in a humane way. Even the way the documentary focuses on the characters, the human beings who are acting crazy, it doesn't really give the respect to the animals that were abused, you know, in the process of this and exploited. I can't get into a lot of details about it because I'm not an animal rights activist, and also I can fall victim to things that seem entertaining, like being able to pet a tiger kitten. So I might look at that and be like, oh, I want to do that too.
Like,
But
would you pet a tiger?
no. And it's hilarious because in the documentary, there are multiple times where the lead characters who own these tiger conservation places are like cuddling with the tigers. Oh yeah, just acting like it's a regular cat. And then the cat turns on them. There was even a case where one of the people that worked on Joe Exotic's, animal conservatory, if that's how you describe it, she had her arm bitten off. And she came back to work like 2 days later, and she was like, well, I don't let things get me down. And, I knew that if I didn't go back to work, they were going to make a big deal of it on the news, and they were going to shut down the conservatory, so I had to come back to work. And
But you don't have an arm right
you
now.
don't have a whole arm. And she wasn't mad at the tiger. She wasn't even mad. She was just like, things happen. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting about the show is that a lot of the people that these exotic animal enthusiasts were able to recruit to come work on the exotic animal plantation were people who were like on their last leg. They had either been in and out of jail their entire life, or they were just kind of like on the edge of society. And the way that they're kind of like manipulated into working for this guy, and the way that they're treated, like the hours they have to work, it's really, really interesting that something like that could happen in America. So, it's one of those things that makes you laugh, but at the same time, it can get kind of weird. And I actually turned it off a couple times. I said I wasn't gonna watch it, but
Are you gonna pick it back
pulled
up
me back
now?
in. Oh, definitely. I've been watching it like every morning. It's just there's not like, you can't go 60 seconds without something happening that is just like either wildly comedic and hilarious or just weird.
Okay, here's a fun fact, or I don't know if it's a fun fact, but a side note. Did you know that 39 tigers from that series, Tiger King, are now living in an animal sanctuary in Colorado?
Sanctuary, that was the word I was looking for. So this was actually an animal sanctuary also, but technically it was not, because they weren't actually treating the animals well, and they weren't actually actually providing that safe space for the animals. It was mostly about money. And people end up getting killed over these animals, and the enthusiasm they have for being known as the cat person. Like, it opens your eyes into another world. There are just so many worlds that exist in our culture, subcultures, and this is definitely a subculture of people who are obsessed with exotic animals.
So on a scale from 1 to 10, like what would you rate Tiger King?
In terms of like reality television trash, I would give it a 10.
Oh, is that engaging?
For reality television trash, yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess if you're into that thing, people, then maybe it's worth checking out.
Definitely.
And next we have Tennis Talk. This is going to be a good one. Be right back. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do it now.
Tim's Talk. So today I'm going to talk about something I posted on Facebook earlier this week that resonated with a lot of people, and I was really surprised because it's something I've been sitting on for years and I haven't really expressed it to a lot of people. But one thing I've noticed on my journey of being a black woman in 2020 is that a good majority of the men that I am interested in, that I want to pursue me, date white women exclusively. And I thought it was really funny that only black women replied to this. And I was surprised that a lot of women replied back, oh, I experience this more than the rejection I get from being overweight. Or,
I know what you're talking about with that comment.
That's somebody I grew up with. And I was just like, I get it.
I mean, I felt like she was trying to relate to you a little bit though. But she was like, it's not as bad as being overweight though.
I don't think she was trying to say it's not as bad as being overweight. I think she was just trying to say, I think more people are aware of the fact that people that are overweight have a harder time dating. I don't think they're aware of like the prejudice that people of color feel within their communities when it comes to dating.
Speaking of prejudice, this is kind of a side note, but like, why amongst black people, like, why is there war on color almost?
Oh, colorism?
Yeah, like, light skin, dark skin, light skin guys act a certain way.
It's called social conditioning, and we're all affected by it. And it's like, the dominant culture is European, and so that sets the standards for what we consider to be beautiful, successful, superior, all that. So we're all affected by it, and so whenever you see one of us acting out in that way, that's how I rationalize it, or I will go crazy. And I know it's true because I have a lot of friends who are sociologists for some reason, because I feel like those types of subjects have helped me to kind of process the world. And so that's considered a rule, yeah. It's just called white supremacy. And it's not, the KKK in your closet with hoodies on coming to get you. It's just the way our culture is. Like, our culture prioritizes men, it prioritizes white men, it prioritizes heterosexual white men, and their perspective and how they see the world. So we kind of see the world through their lens. And that's how I rationalize, black men who take a chance with dating me. Like, I can tell they're very apprehensive about even considering to date me.
Like, well, who wouldn't want to date you though, Justin?
Plenty. You're looking at me like you're seriously.
Like, seriously?
Yeah.
Like, so, like, my question is, so, like, for the guys that you say, the guys that you're attracted to, and that, like, they are attracted to white women, is what you're saying.
I think it just comes down to what they desire. I think some of them, I've even had, and usually it's black men who've grown up and what I like to call like mainline white experiences. You can either have a mainline black experience, like going to a HBCU, that's a mainline black experience. Some people have that experience from birth to the end of their lives. But then there's some people who don't have that, black people who don't have that experience at all. They have a mainstream, mainline white experience, so you're going to be drawn and attracted to people that you're around, you know.
Like, and I get it.
That kind of shapes their
I grew
perception.
up, we grew up in the same area, and like I literally only, I mean, I had like my white friends, whatever, but like I hung out with Kiana, Jennifer, Ashley, people you know, like all the time.
But guess what? There were black boys where we grew up who we could not get to hang out with us. I'm not naming any names, but everybody that you just named at one point tried to get a black boy we went to middle school and high school with to hang out with us, and he refused.
Like no?
He just never followed through. Like, I tried to study with him when we were in grad school, because we were in grad school at the same place during the same time. And I talked to Ashley and all those other people you named, and they're like, yeah, I just tried to hang out with Ernie too. And whoops.
Oh, I know you're talking about now. No, it's all good. I mean, people listening to this.
I used to try, nobody's listening.
Anyways, but like, yeah, I know.
But guess what?
Oh, I know.
Midland is so petty, one day he's going to come back, so I heard you were talking about me.
Like, yeah, so, I mean, but,
yeah, whatever.
Like, when's the last time you talked to him anyways, though?
Right.
So.
10 plus years. So, yeah, like, it's just really hard to connect with them. Like, you might be the only one. Like, a couple of them married black women, but most of them didn't marry black women, I would say.
Our producer friend.
Producer friend?
Yeah.
Who?
Chris.
What about?
I mean, he wasn't like that.
Yeah, I feel like he chose a different path. Like, he moved to Atlanta and he's having, like, a black experience, yeah. But, I see that a lot. I've lived in a lot of different places. I've seen it. I've experienced it. And I've dated guys who are like this. And some of them, you can tell they're not even, I'm not going to go there, but I do think it's really deep-seated. I think it's really deep-seated. I think some of them want to change, but they don't know how. Like, I've had guys come to me and be like, Tim, I want to date black girls, but I can't.
Like, did you ask them why?
They're like, they don't like me. And that goes back to something you were talking about.
But like that's, to me, like people that have that generalization, like we were talking about off camera, or off microphone, or off both, but people are putting themselves in a box when they say that. It's like if black girls don't like me, it's like that's all in their head.
Well, people could be saying it's all in my head that there's these black men out there who only date non-black women. They're like, oh, that's just all in your head. There's black men who like black women. Maybe that's their experience. Their experience is black girls don't like me. And I'm sure you've got to live for that.
I had, I guess, an interesting experience with like dating, whatever. But like I've never. Like even in Midland, like I don't remember going out with anyone that was white.
But Roger,
neither
did I. I didn't go out with anybody, and I didn't go out certainly with anybody that was white. But I was surrounded, like the handful of black boys I went to middle school with. Let's say they were like 5. They all were very popular and had like white girlfriend after white girlfriend after white girlfriend.
Right.
And I remember one of my best friends made a joke and she said the black girls were asexual. And it's like, we're not asexual. It's just like you guys exclude us from the dating pool or the dating world in high school and middle school. So yeah, I always thought that was interesting. Like even in our community outside of school, you would see more interracial couples than black couples. Like, your parents were, like, one of the few black couples I knew when I was growing up. It felt like, so, like, my first black friend was in 7th grade, and she was black and white. Her mom was white, her dad was black. And, like, the neighborhood they lived in, every time you saw a black man, he was married to a white woman. And she even had an au pair who was from like Sweden or something like that. And
this was in Midland or something?
Yeah, this was in Midland.
Okay.
I never lived in Saginaw.
Oh, you did?
No.
I thought you lived in Saginaw for a little bit. No.
You're right. For like a year in second grade or something like that. Less a year.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I used to always wonder to myself whenever I saw a black man that I was attractive on television or something, I would ask to myself, I wonder if he likes black women. I wonder if he dates black women. And that's just like, that's such an interesting perspective. And now I meet people who haven't had that experience, and I tell them these things, and they're just kind of like, their mind blown. I'm like, yeah, this is how I saw the world. This is how the world was presented to me from a young age.
Yeah, so and that's one reason why I went to an HBCU.
Same here.
Shout out to Hampton University, the real HU. But I went there like partially because my mom went to Hampton and my aunt went to Hampton. So I had like a handful of people in my family that went to Hampton. So so the summer between 11th grade and 12th grade, I actually got to go to summer school there. They call it pre-college, but so where I got to take a couple classes just so I can see the campus,
cool.
so I can see the campus, meet people that might be in some of my classes like in the next year. And that experience alone like changed my whole perspective. Like especially just like getting out of Midland.
Yes.
And Midland is like
it
so
becomes
small.
your world.
Yeah, it's like so.
I think
then,
that's the whole world.
Yeah. Then when you get outside of that and you're in another environment, and I was there for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Which is a long time. Like that's the longest that I was away from.
Yeah.
From my family or whatever. So, but I was just like my eyes were like this big like the whole time. It's like wow. Like,
same here.
I've never seen so many. I've never seen so many black people in one place before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two, like I've never seen so many like beautiful women.
Yeah,
like at all, like just all in one place.
Yeah.
So
I'm so glad you said that because like I got my bachelor's and master's at my HBCU in Mississippi, Jackson State University, and the whole time I was there, I felt like what you just said, like my eyes were just wide open. I was so starstruck that I kind of like overlooked things that I probably should not have overlooked.
Right.
That could have gotten in the way of me being successful there. I was just so happy to be surrounded by black people and to be surrounded by like beautiful black people. Like I felt really affirmed by the fact that the guys on campus seemed to have an interest in dating the girls. Now that's like a whole nother talk show because there are politics to the black college experience in terms of dating that are really interesting that we could talk about. Like the whole black college experience, I call it like the politics of it is like a whole nother thing. But yeah, I was just like, sometimes I question, did I choose the right HBCU? But considering where we came from and the experiences that we had, the perspective that came from it before we went to college, I would not have been able to live with myself if I had not gone to a black college. Like I needed that so bad.
Yeah, and I was so my brother had a little bit different experience, but
did he go to Hampton?
No, he didn't go to Hampton. He went to started at Purdue.
Okay.
And hated it, and then went to Central Michigan.
Okay.
But like me and him, we had completely opposite experiences because I went to Hampton partially I wanted to get out of Midland.
Yeah.
Like so I wanted to get as far away from everyone as possible.
Yeah.
Which and then my parents aren't gonna drive like 14 hours just to come pop up on me.
Yeah.
So that was one. But my brother, like looking back on it, he wishes he would have been in a bigger city earlier than, because I think he wishes that he would have had a black experience too, but he never really had that experience. I mean, he came to visit me in Hampton like probably one time, whatever, and then he was like kind of like his eyes were like wide open too. He was just like, wow, like why didn't you tell me about this sooner?
How did you know?
I tried to tell you, but you didn't want to listen.
As soon as I saw Homecoming on BET, Like, I knew nothing about HBCUs until I was about 15 or 16. I
Yeah.
saw a homecoming show on BET, like a halftime show. I was like, what the hell? Why didn't anybody tell me about this? I knew then I was going to a black college. I was like, it's just something about the energy. It's really captured, I feel like, in those homecoming halftime shows. I feel like there's this like really unique energy that's captured there.
Yeah.
That everybody wants a piece of when they tap into it.
And then, I guess dating. I guess kind of going back to when you said that you dated guys that only exclusively dated white women. Like I've gotten this, and this has happened more than one time where women, even like within even after college, after I got out of college, whatever, it's like this is when this happened, which I thought this was over.
Yeah.
But women have told me, or at least I've heard in passing, whatever, right, that I'm not hood enough, right, which is why they didn't continue to date me, or why they didn't want to go to the second date.
Right.
Because I'm not hood enough. Like what?
Oh,
like,
trust me.
What is hood enough?
Going to a black college or having a black experience after being disconnected from it, that's like, it's not like a utopian experience. You're not necessarily embraced once you reconnect with your community, depending on what that community is. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I'm not going to say it's not true, but I am going to say that we do have to be careful in how we make generalizations, especially about black people who are historically generalized in negative ways. I think the best thing that we can do is kind of highlight, like, this is our experience. It's not necessarily a blanket truth, but there's definitely probably a pattern, and there's other people that have experienced that. But yeah, like I was tolerated in college. I was not accepted. I was tolerated at best. And I kind of found my people through, not even my people, but people that seemed to tolerate me better through science. So I used to work in a lab. I ended up getting into grad school after I got my master's, and I was just like, I used to do all these internships. And that was the closest I had to a college experience with my interactions with those groups of people. And then like immigrant kids, second generation African kids and Jamaican kids, like they seemed to like me. But African American kids in college, they were like, you're weird. You need to be more of this, you're uptight, you know what I mean? Like, that is real, and I can completely believe that someone said that to you.
Yep, it's definitely said so. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I just had a lot of interesting experience. Like even going back to high school, where getting called names and stuff like that. But I guess we'll leave that for another show. But
okay,
I make jokes about it now, but
yeah,
because like it's all good now. But
yeah,
that'll be another show.
Who was calling you names?
No, but
other black kids?
No, well, it was probably a little bit of both, but so I'll give you an example just real quick. So like when I'm struggling to find my identity in high school,
right?
Just for example, it's like my aunt lived in South Carolina at the time, in Spartanburg, South Carolina, right? So I went to visit her during spring break one summer, or during one spring break, and we went to the mall, and she bought me some like clothes that they don't have in Midland, like urban clothes, right? So then I go back to school once I have all these clothes, like, and I literally like I probably had like 4 new outfits, whatever, 4 or 5 new outfits, whatever. I literally wore those the first week that I got back.
Yeah.
like in Midland, and then people were
probably
like
Sean John, Fat Farm.
Probably something like that. I didn't remember what I had, but I know like it was an outfit and that I wore. I had 4 of them. I had like the it was like a jersey, and then had like the shorts matched jersey.
Yeah.
It was stuff like that. But I had 4 of those outfits, and I thought I was a shit when I got back. Like, I don't know what else to say, but like, I thought I was cool as shit.
Yeah.
Getting back, whatever, and like, people were, I like how Roger was like acting black now, whatever, right? So
black kids or white kids?
White kids were saying that.
Oh, that's funny.
Whatever, but I mean, but you still couldn't tell me anything though, whatever, because like I thought I was a man, like when I got back. But
I used to wear the same FUBU shirt, like at least once a week, probably the same day, once a week, every Wednesday. Have pictures of me in it. Yeah, that was the only FUBU shirt I had because it was so expensive.
I don't think I had any FUBU, but
FUBU was shit.
My aunt had me clean though when I came back. but I guess that's enough. That's enough of that right there. So I mean, we probably got some more stories for another episode.
Yeah, we just covered about 4 other shows.
Yeah, we got
some 4 more shows out of that conversation.
We got some more stories for the next episode. But alright, guys, we'll be right back. Welcome to the School of Positive Thought. Hey guys, in the beginning of the show, I mentioned that now is the time to be going on offense and not playing defense. And what I mean by that is you need to go on the attack. That's gotta stop waiting for like government handouts. Now I'm not saying don't take them when they come, but who knows when you actually start getting them. It's like people, you need to play offense right now. Like develop a new skill, for example. Apply for jobs that are hiring if you need income real bad. Like start your side hustle. Maybe even after this pandemic, your side hustle can become your main hustle. So, because at the end of the day, like you don't want to come out of this pandemic and you don't want to be in the same place. You want to be further ahead than you were when we went into this pandemic. So I want to leave you guys with a couple quotes. I say like, well done is better than well said. Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. And currently, like the secret of getting ahead is getting started. Alright guys, so that's the end of the show. We will be back next week. And Tim, did you want to add anything?
For the positive thought, I just want to tell everybody, Roger and myself, we really experienced this whole thing differently. Roger's kind of like, oh, it's another day, I'm still working, but for a person like me, I'm extremely sensitive, and just the idea that the world, or my world, has changed, even if it's just temporary, and the uncertainty of that can be like really, really a lot, can be pretty heavy. So I read some articles that talked about how people are experiencing like the stages of grief right now, and personally I would say that I've experienced different waves of feelings, everything from feeling like I'm living my best life and moving towards my dreams to feeling like the walls are closing in on me. So I just want to tell everybody to kind of like, if you're feeling the way I'm feeling, it's okay to acknowledge that and look for ways to ground yourselves. So I try to take lessons from things that are around me. And I'm so glad a long time ago I added some plants to my apartment, and since I can't go outside anymore or as much, I've been really like just enjoying them being here. It makes me feel like I'm outside. So today, one lesson I took from my plants was to, number 1, drink a lot of water. Number 2, get some sunlight even if it's through the window. And number 3, stay grounded. So maybe the next episode I can talk about some grounding techniques. But these are just ways of kind of like staying centered, staying calm. So you can do those things that Roger was talking about earlier in terms of like making the best of your time while we're quarantined.
Guys, ready, break! Alright guys, we'll be back next week.